Welcome back to The Rustic Wife. I'm Alana. Today I'm in the kitchen making some homemade treats for my daughter and her friends, and it's a tradition that my mom started actually that I continue, and that is to make candy apples for Halloween. You can make and eat candy apples anytime, they're always fun. I'm also making sugar cookies and cupcakes, but today I really wanted to show you how to make candy apples. We don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters around here, maybe just two little neighbor kids down the road, so they know us, and I give them candy apples if they come, and sugar cookies and things like that, some homemade treats. I have the cupcakes and the cookies done. I'm gonna work on the candy apples, and I have my apples here. I usually keep the apples in the refrigerator, but when I'm gonna make candy apples, I take them out so that they come to room temperature. You don't want a cold apple plunged into boiling hot syrup because it'll sweat between the skin and the candy might come off or might get kind of watery and gross. And then I'm gonna need some popsicle sticks. I just got these from the dollar store, and I line a couple of trays with granulated sugar. That way I can just set the candy apples down and it won't stick to anything. And when the candy apples have set up and I wrap them in the cellophane, I can actually just take this sugar left over and put it back in the bowl. So I've got that all ready, so I'm gonna show you how I make them. One thing I forgot to mention is I use a candy thermometer. I think maybe I paid about $5 or $6 for this at a hardware store, or maybe it was Canadian Tire, I can't remember. But it's good to have one of these. If you don't have one of these, you can actually just watch your candy, take a spoonful of it and put it in some water, some cold water. If it starts to thread and crack, you know it's at the hard crack stage and that's where your candy needs to be. So you can always do it that way too. All right, for this you're gonna need 3 cups of granulated sugar. Also 2/3 of a cup of water. And also a 1/2 cup of corn syrup. And then I will put my candy thermometer in here. I'll just let that sit there. Maybe I'll put it to about 3. You don't want this to scorch. You don't want it to come up to temperature too fast because you don't want the sugar to scorch. While the sugar mixture is boiling away on the stove, I'm just going to put my popsicle sticks into the apples. The variety of apple that I'm using here is Spartan, and I try to get them ones that are really red, but sometimes they have green on them, so that's why I add a bit of food coloring to my my candy mixture. And I use the gel food coloring because I find it has a really vibrant red color to it. So there we go. I have 11 apples. The recipe should make between 10 and 12 depending on the size of the apples, so hopefully I have enough for 11. So I'm just turning the stovetop down to number 2. You don't want it too low when it's starting out because it's going to take forever to come up to this boiling point here. And you don't want it too high because you don't want it to cook too quickly and have the sugar mixture burn. Also, I just wanted to say, the reason why I don't stir it is because you can stir it beforehand, but once you put it on the stovetop, you don't want to stir it because any sort of agitation to this mixture, the sugar could start to crystallize again, and then your candy will be grainy. So you just let it do its thing here. This is the mixture at, it's almost at 280 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, it's at number 2 on my stovetop. It's getting up there pretty good right now. So it's at 290 degrees right now, but I want to show you what it looks like in water. Let's see. You can see these threads here. You can hear them kind of cracking. So that's at the hard crack stage. There. So at this stage you want to work quite quickly. Just put that candy thermometer there. We can wash that off after. I'm going to add some food coloring here. I removed it from the stovetop And I'm just gonna stir in the red food coloring. Okay, so you wanna just take your apple. I just tilt this. You be very, very careful. This is like molten lava, this candy. Do not have little kids around when you're doing this, because you get this on your skin and it is going to burn and it will not come off. And then I just set it on the sugar. So I just keep dipping these, let some of the excess sugar drain. I just set the apple on the sugar line tray. Make sure they don't touch each other at this point, because they'll really stick together. So there's the candy apples. I did have enough candy for 11. I probably could have done 12 if I had smaller apples. So that's what they look like. And they're quite dry right now. They're not tacky, it feels smooth, so I'm gonna wrap some of them up right now. For the candy apples, to wrap them up, I just have some clear cellophane that I got from the dollar store. It's just a roll of that clear wrap that you can use when you're making a gift basket, and also some baker's twine. So that's ready to go. I'm just gonna wrap the apples now because they're still nice and dry to touch. So I've got just a square of the cellophane wrap that I cut up, and just wrap them up. And then I have my baker's twine. And there you go. Got my little ghost cookies and some pumpkins there. And some Halloween cupcakes with some of those autumn leaf little sprinkles. I'm not sure what you call those, but there you go. There we go. There's my Halloween candies. Hopefully we get 2 kids, but we might not get any. But my daughter and her friends will enjoy theirs.